lesson that we just finished was 45, 45, 90. These ones are 30, 60, 90. Those are your two special right triangles. I was going to skip those square root things since we already practiced that. Or do you need more practice with that? Or do we feel like we're... Okay, just thumbs up. I'll take it. So just go ahead and flip over. I'm just going to teach you the other triangle pattern. So for 45, 45, 90, you either multiply by square root of 2 or you divide by square root of 2. And two of the sides were congruent, which was really convenient. For 30, 60, 90, they're all different. So this pattern is a little bit harder, all right? First thing, again, that you're always going to do is identify the hypotenuse. So this is your hypotenuse, and I'm going to label these because it's a little bit tougher. So I'm going to label that's hypotenuse. This is going to be our 30-degree angle. That's the smallest one. Do you get that 30 is the littlest? The smallest one. So across from that, I'm going to call that the small side. We're going to have small and big and hypotenuse. So small, big, hypotenuse. Figure out which one is the hypotenuse first. Across from 30 is small. This one's 60. Oh, and by the way, if you add 30 plus 60 plus 90, what do you think you're going to get? Perfect, 180. So across from 60 is the bigger side. So you have small, big, and hypotenuse. To be clear, I'm calling the other ones small and big. The hypotenuse is always the largest one out of the three. It's just, I have to come up with names for them, so that's what I'm going with. Small, big, and hypotenuse. On board so far? So the small one we're going to call X. It's always nice if you are given that one, right? To get from the smaller one to the hypotenuse, you're going to double it. It's 2x. So you would multiply by 2. If you have to go backwards, if you're given this one, instead of multiplying by 2, you would divide by 2, okay? And then to get from the small one to the big one, you're going to multiply by square root of 3. You have to go backwards. You divide by square root of 3. So this one is a little tougher. There's more stuff going on. Now, this one's already filled in, but let's just look at it real quick. Find the hypotenuse first. Do you see how across from our 90, that's hypotenuse? Here's 30. Across from 30 is the small one. So do you see how the small one is 5 and the hypotenuse is 10? How'd you get from 5 to 10? Yeah. Multiply by 2. You doubled it. Okay? And then across from 60 is the bigger one. To get from the smaller one to the bigger one, you multiply by square root of 3. So do you see how it's 5 square root of 3? And that one was filled in for you. Now we're going to try it on our own. Okay? So look at this first example. Find the hypotenuse first. So this one is our hypotenuse. And you probably do want to label these hypotenuse, small, and big. That'll be easiest if you label them. All right, which one is small? Is it the 14 or the Y? At the 14, across from the 30 is our small one. The other one is going to be the big one. So you have hypotenuse, small, and big. So the small one is 14. How would I get the hypotenuse? I'm going to take 14 and multiply by 2. I'm going to double it. Does anyone know that? 28. Good job. That's just the answer. You know the pattern, you get the answer. Now to get from the small one to the big one, you're going to multiply by square root of 3. So it's just going to be 14 square root of 3. Cool. Let's try it again. Find the hypotenuse first. Our hypotenuse is that 32. So this time they gave us the hypotenuse. So it's going to be a little bit harder. Which one's the small one, X or Y? Yeah, X. Across from the 30 is small. This is going good. And then the other one is big. I know it's annoying to label every single time, but I think for these you kind of need to. So hypotenuse is 32. To get the small one, you would divide by 2. So 32 divided by 2, close, yeah, 16. You could always use a calculator. And then to get from the small one to the big one, you're going to multiply by square root of 3. So it is 16 square root of 3. And that just is the answer. It's kind of like if you know the pattern, you don't have to do any work. You may need to simplify square roots, which actually I think in this one we're probably going to need to. So find the hypotenuse first. Which one's the hypotenuse, the X, Y, or the 20? Yeah, X is the hypotenuse. Now, I don't have a 30 labeled, This one's 60, so I know the other angle is 30. It's a 30, 60, 90. So which one's the small one? Across from 30 is Y. Y is your small one. 20 is big. Now, if you're given the bigger side, that's the most difficult scenario, because to get from the bigger one to the smaller one, you have to divide by, well, square root of 3. That's why it's harder. All right. So you're going to take 20 and divide it by square root of 3. To fix that, or rationalize as it's called, we're going to multiply by square root of 3. Again, I'm not sure why this answer looks better. It kind of doesn't, but we'll go with it. So it's going to be 20 square root of 3, and then the denominator will literally just be 3. So 20 square root of 3 over 3. You can't simplify that any further because 20 won't divide nicely by 3. So you just leave it. Looks awful. But that's your answer. All right, and then how do you get from the smaller one to the hypotenuse? You're going to multiply by 2. Now, listen. When you multiply this by 2, are you going to multiply every single number by 2? No, then you'd be multiplying by 2 repetitively. You're only going to multiply one number by 2, and it's going to be the 20, that very first coefficient. Everything else is going to stay the same. So 20 times 2 is 40. So it is 40 square root of 3 over 3. Again, none of the other numbers change. If you were to multiply them all by 2, you would be doubling and then doubling again and then doubling again. That's not what we want to do. You only need to double it once. All right, one more. Find the hypotenuse first. That's this side. I don't see a 30 labeled in there, but this one is 60, so I know the other one is 30. And so across from the 30 is small, and then the other one is big. Again, it's more difficult if you're given the big side because you have to divide to get the small side. So it's a little tougher. So off to the side, I'm going to take 18 and divide it by square root of 3. And then we're going to rationalize that. So you're going to multiply by square root of 3. Now this one's actually going to look a little bit nicer. We'll get 18 square root of 3 over 3, but it'll simplify one step further because you can do 18 divided by 3, which is 6. So your small side is 6 square root of 3. And then your last step, to get from the small one to the hypotenuse, you're going to multiply by 2. You're going to double it, but only once. Don't double it repetitively, all right? So 6 times 2 is 12, so 12 square root of 3. I'm going to flip over and do one more just to make sure we're good. All right, flip over. I'll let you pick a number. Oops. Just so that we have a little bit of blank space here. Let's do one more. So let's give me an even number because it'll turn out nicer if it's even. 14? We'll go with that. Just do one more to make sure that we're good. So in the scenario I drew here, 14 is the hypotenuse. Across from the 30 is small. Across from 60 is big. Again, to be clear, the hypotenuse is the biggest side. I'm just calling these small and big to tell the difference, right? So what would our small side be? Anyone want to give it a shot? This one's 14, so what's the small side? 7. Good. How'd you get 7? Because that is correct. 14 divided by 2. And then the big side is going to be 7 square root of 3. Lovely.